talk about the inciting incident and what that is and what it means to your book. The inciting incident is what starts the book off, basically. You can have your book open in what's called the ordinary world, where the character is going about their day-to-day life, but then some big change drops into their life and changes the direction that they're going in. Without that, the reader's kind of like, why am I reading about this particular moment in time with this character? The inciting incident is the one that sets them on a new trajectory in terms of growth.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Both physical and emotional. They're going to step outside of their comfort zone, they're going to face their deepest fears, and they're going to achieve something by the end of the novel. That's what the inciting incident is. It's a moment of change. In my videos, I've also referred to it as the trouble starting and the catalyst. I like to think of it as something that sort of starts the engine rolling of the plot. Now, if you're going to have an inciting incident, where do you put it? It should be fairly close to the beginning of the book. Remember, this is not the Dickens and Hawthorne era of reading. This is the TikTok generation era of reading, and readers really expect you to get to the point quite quickly because they've got a lot of things vying for their attention. I mean, I could sit there and binge Netflix all day and finish The Crown, or I could read a book. So that book really has to grab my attention fast to make me choose that over the very passive activity of just watching the latest season of The Crown. So how big should your inciting incident be? It should be big enough to force a life change for your character. Now, sometimes you can have one inciting incident and then a second one down the road that becomes even bigger. So with the Barbie movie, she goes through a couple different things that force change in her life. The first one is where she starts thinking about death and has these thoughts that sort of, literally stop the record on her life and makes her question things. And so she goes to the weird Barbie, she finds out she needs to go to the real world to kind of fix this. And that's her initial goal, is to go and find the girl that's been playing with her too hard and kind of fix this thing that has gone wrong. Once Barbie gets to the real world, she sees a much bigger problem than the one that she had seen back in Barbie Land. And she realizes that the real world also needs to change and needs to have some kind of growth. She wants to change Barbie Land and take it away from Kendom and make it back to what it was, but she also wants to have change in the life of the girl that had her as a Barbie and in the life of girls overall. So her mission becomes much bigger. There are several things that happen in this movie that serve as a catalyst for change and serve as a catalyst for even more growth with Barbie. What Barbie wants at the beginning of just restoring Barbie Land to what it was before changes and shifts to where she wants to have a bigger impact than that, where she sees that she can have an impact on the patriarchy that's starting to form and she can create a more inclusive Barbie Land overall. One other thing you should remember about your inciting incident is that it should fit this character, meaning that it should be something that would be believable happening in this character's life and also be something that the character would be inspired enough to fix or change. So if you have something that doesn't really impact that character, that character really doesn't care about, it's not going to be believable that that would be an inciting incident for them to change. It has to matter to them. When it matters to the character, it matters to the reader, and when that happens, the reader connects with the book and the reader chooses the book over Netflix. Now, the inciting incident can either come from a plot-driven standpoint or from a character-driven standpoint. And we're going to talk about the difference between plot-driven books and character-driven books on this channel this month. For your writing exercise for this, I'd like you to kind of look at the inciting incidents of different books and movies that you're watching, write them down, and then think about how you would have done that with your book. What twist would you have put on it? How would your character react in that particular situation? What would they do? It's all kind of about learning to think outside the box. Your inciting incident sets up the catalyst for all of the change in the book. So when you come back to writing your own inciting incident, I want you to think about your character and what kind of changes they need to accomplish. It's also really great to figure out what your character is most afraid of and make that part of the inciting incident. Even the alien invasion can be about big change for your character that they are afraid to face. Maybe they have to step outside their comfort zone, they have to make a speech, they have to step up to the plate, they have to finally take the reins in their life. That's sort of what happens with Randy Quaid in Independence Day. So look at your inciting incident and think about how it will force your character to grow and change. Check out my channel because there's a lot of videos about plot and character on here, and they will help you take that inciting incident and create an entire book framework out of it. You definitely need to have the framework in order to create the book. Go back and look at these things, look at the downloads that I've provided. They're all in the descriptions and the links in the bio and everywhere else so that you can start plotting your book and take that inciting incident and turn it into an entire novel today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the other side of the page.
Jumpstart your writing, get